to the knowledge sharing series brought to you by the MGK Foundation. Today we are privileged to be speaking to Roy Wachira, the owner and founder of Café Kaya and the Foundry in Nairobi. Welcome, Roy.
Pleasure.
Please tell us a little about yourself. How did you get into these ventures?
Well, I've been into entrepreneurship since I was pretty young. I think maybe since I was 14. Since 1993, actually, selling pens, sweets, different things to my classmates in primary school. So it's just been something that's been developing for a while. And then I think when I was in high school is when it really checked in. I think I had some good mentors. Some of my friends like Jack Miner, who had a really big clothing shop here in Nairobi, so we used to go and help out during the weekends. Also got involved in a lot of creative content making since I was young. And then that slowly developed. By the time I was in university, I was doing events, DJing, radio, a lot of many different things. So it just kept on progressing. I think just trying to figure out how to create value. Because I've studied quite a lot, aviation, then I did property studies, then I did marketing, advertising, communication. Then later is when I went to like business school, at Strathmore Business School. So that's when it started becoming more focused on what I've been doing.
Has the background education you've had, for example, in aviation, influenced the kind of businesses you have gone into? Or is that something you did and you just parked?
Yeah, I mean, for now, I don't fly at all, which is ridiculous, but I hope one day I will. The goal was, aviation really hasn't played a role in everything. The only thing it's helped me with, because we used to do a lot of engineering, so like I build a lot of things. A lot of my places I build myself. So that building aspect of just being able to create for myself has been there for quite a while. Yeah, so and that's helped.
What about your parents? Was there any influence from that side?
Yeah, I mean my dad has been in business for a while, so that's definitely helped out quite a bit. Yeah, and a lot of my uncles, they were used to dabbling into very many different things, so I'd get really heavily involved. Or try and get heavily involved as much as I could. So from there, I've learned quite a bit.
So tell us a little bit about the current enterprises you're running.
Yeah.
You have a cafe, Café Kaya, and you also have a co-working space at the Foundry. Tell us a little more about these.
I think I'll start earlier. So my previous life, which is actually my previous life, is from 2003 till 2013, I was doing events, management, media, photography, and a whole lot of things for Safaricom, Red Bull, Philips, big brands here. I had an agency before, and then I had a motorcycle accident, so I lost use of my left arm. So after that, I had to transition into doing other things that didn't involve me. And so that's how I started being more involved in co-working, because I also had been involved in a lot of entrepreneurship efforts before, but I felt like, especially in Kenya, there was not enough support for entrepreneurs, because I'd felt it myself, especially when it comes down to things like having space to work in, having a conducive space, having people to support as you are setting up what you're setting up. So that's why we started co-working. That was in 2014. We opened our first one. Now we've opened 5, but we've also closed 4. Yeah, along the way. But by then I realized I'm actually enjoying hospitality more than I am enjoying dealing with office. Because the problem with office selling as such, you end up it's about the first sale. And then after that, it's just about building the community. And I enjoyed, then we realized we also need to have elements of food, because food is a really big component of day-to-day life as such, working environment, And food is also a conversation starter. It's a way of people connecting. So that's when we started Café Kaya, which is named after my firstborn daughter. So then that's what I'm really enjoying now, because there's a very different kind of magic that's there when you build a space, you design it, you build it, you build a menu, and then you build the cocktails, you build this, you build that, and then you see people coming in, and you can start seeing them picking it, and the conversations as groups talk, and they come and they make it their home, and they come again, and then they come again, and then they come again, and it's like magic. So I'm loving that aspect of it. Yeah.
You have spoken about challenges starting out,
Yeah.
having the support you needed. How did you surmount these challenges in your space?
So weirdly enough, so I've been in a lot of startups. Even when I was in South Africa, I was in startups. I was in like 2 different startups. So you kind of get used to how even the leaders at that particular point sorted out some issues. We were always in a space that had more than one startup. Because also living in isolation, you can't. You also need to have people that you can just touch base with. So, because when you're up, somebody else is down. When you're down, somebody else is up. So it's also good when you have people around you who at least know what the struggle is about, because that's a core part of it. And they'll also help you with solutions of like, contact this circle, they'll help you with this, contact this guy. So I mean, I think one of the, because three of my friends in 2005 started basically working together, 3 separate companies. And we were a bunch of different people. I mean, so that really helped us out, because we would either interchange clients, and also during lunchtime, it was just like guys would sit, talk about their issues, struggles. And when it's really, really hitting you, you don't think you're alone. Yeah, because that's a really core component, because isolation, no one can live by themselves, Yeah. Yeah, so that's one of the ways we've really helped build up. And also, we'd also talk about opportunities, and especially the ones we can't fill, and then somebody else will take it up. Yeah.
So in your business, do you have partners or do you work alone?
Right now, I work alone, but my team and I, we've been together 10 years now. Yeah, same team for 10 years. So our finance head and our operations manager, and between us 3, I think we've set up like 3, 4 different companies and different enterprises. I mean, from the events business, we were together. That's how we found each other. Then we've transitioned into co-working. Then now we're transitioning into mostly hospitality, food. I think it's important for you to figure out what people are good at, because all of us have shifted what we're really good at through the years. Because your skill set should also change, because times change. Like for me, I was forced to change, so I didn't have a choice, So then you start learning how to be a better manager. Because before I used to do a lot of things by myself. I just hire people during the periods that I need. But now, after a while, you realize you do need people to be there longer. And so you have to sacrifice a lot more and figure out how you can place them so that they also have a say and have their own, like, how could I put it? They manage. They're actually part of the team. What they say also has an impact on day-to-day activity. And then that's how you manage to start growing. Because a lot of the opportunities we always sit together and we discuss them. It's not that Roy just decides. I don't have that boss mentality, like, kind of thing.
Even though they are not investors in your business?
Yeah, but they are investors. I think it's important for people to realize that sometimes, because me, I've been in hospital for a while, and they kept the place running. So it's not that you guys are not investors. They're investors because it still affects their day-to-day. It affects their family's needs, their goals as well. Not everyone has to be like a shareholder as such to be an investor. Yeah, and it depends on your type of leadership. Not everyone leads the same way. But as I said, you have to sacrifice something for them to also know that they're investors.
But have you had ventures in the past that have either not gone too well or failed?
Yeah, we've had quite a number of those. I think one of them was we started a co-working space in Gong Road, and we built it, I think, for like around 6 months, 7 months. It was our first partnership. Little did we know that. So we opened it 3 months in, tried filling up the place. So far, so good. And then our partner tells us that he sold the building, and now we have to move out. So you later on is when you find out that maybe you were being used to no to increase the value of the property, so that the sale can be better. So I guess sometimes you don't know what the motives of somebody are in business. I mean, everybody is motivated. Some people are only motivated by profit. You get some of us are motivated by value, or some of the values you've grown with in life. It's not just always about profit, but also living impact, also serving the community the right way, the way it should be served, not the way that makes you the most money necessarily. So that's one of the things that went down. So yeah, that was a really tough period, but we got through it. We moved with all our clients, and we didn't lose a single client. Yeah, so which was good, and we even got a better deal where we moved to. Sometimes it's also an issue of, like when you have that horse mentality, you're given an opportunity by somebody, and you only focus on that. You don't look for options, you don't look for what else the market is offering, because you're worried about, especially like for us co-working, we're I think the second co-working space in Kenya. So you are trying to look for as many opportunities to make the most out of this period, because competitors are just coming. As soon as you joined, there were 10 other guys joining you. So it's just an issue of being the first ones and making sure that you survive in that space. Also, there was a cost of being the first people, because there was such a big education curve that we had to deal with. Explaining to customers why they need this. What currently most people don't have to explain what co-working is. We had to explain. I mean, even my folks kept on wondering, what is this co-working thing? My uncles, aunties, everyone's asking, what is this thing you're doing? So there's a big education curve that's there, which is a cost. Yeah. And that's why a lot of people who start early in some industries just end up not making it. Yeah.
Having invested that cost, so to speak, in those lessons, are there things you took away from that experience that informed subsequent co-working spaces that you went into?
Yes. We changed how we build them, but also more for what I realized for myself and my team is we like personalizing spaces. We had tried working for other companies and doing work for other people, but I realized I cannot do that anymore. I don't have the energy for outsourcing my mind to other people. So I'm very happy doing it for ourselves and doing it. So we focused a lot more on creating our own experiences, which is what we've done with Café Kaya. We've done everything from A to Z. And that's where we see the sweet spot being. Even now, as we started doing a lot of outdoor catering, outside catering as such, it's been more about, this is all we're doing. If you don't like it, bye. We're not going to bend over and do this and do that. It's okay. Us guys are happy here. Let's try and meet. So, and a lot of customers who've been coming are like, that's actually what we want. Yeah, we don't.
Is that really rewarding? Because out here, everyone is trying to be everything to everyone, and people seem to think that is how you get a return on your investment.
And that's what I think we've learned through the way. Because before we used to be business, we used to deal with clients, Safaricom, the rest of them. So we were always dealing with the business. So the business tells you what they want, and then you fulfill it. You get so, and through that process, you actually, it's a lot of times, a lot of things we said we can do got neglected, or they were shunned, or they were not looked into. So eventually you realize when you start doing them for yourself, there's a lot of people who want you to do that. That's where your market is. There's a bigger market for that versus when you're being told what to do. Yeah, so that's one of the things we learned. I mean, we still do work for B2B, but we're enjoying B2C because one of the things I've learned is I prefer being in a space where I don't know the customer than being in a space where I know the customer. And I think if you want to transition into something that's scalable, you have to move from a place where you only know your customer, you know them by name, by face, you have their email, you talk to them directly, to a place where you actually don't know any of these people, but you serve them right. Because there's a lot more people who will, because there you're valued according to your product only. If your product is whack, you don't get anything. But if your product is good, you keep on growing. And that's the only way you can scale to South Sudan, Uganda, Rwanda, as opposed to a lot of these other businesses which are very what's the word? Driven because of who you know. Yes. Yeah. Because I mean, I think many of us are scared, very scared about the customer and not knowing them. You get, and we don't take enough time to research, understand, and do that, and risk that part of the business. We're happy with people we'll meet, play golf with. You know, we met at a family social event, and I know only post a lot of stuff, but like keep on telling people, your friends are not your customers. Yes, they're not your customers, and if you build your business based on what your friends say, you don't actually grow. Yeah, because you're always trying to meet that demand. And it's very weird, but like I think for Africa, it's in America and other places, they keep on saying your network is your net worth. But like in reality, here in Africa, it's actually the opposite. Because what we've realized is that every single time you make a customer becomes a friend and transitions into your next business, you need other strangers to become your customers. Yeah, so you can't expect those people to be the ones to help you build this one. You need to get a whole new diverse range of clients so that they move you to the next level.
How do you then determine that what you're building will meet a certain need? Do you take out research? How do you make that connection between what you have in mind as an idea and what the consumer is looking for, the customer is looking for?
So yeah, my background is qualitative research because I've been doing that since 2003. So with that, I use that to pinpoint a lot of things. Even for my clients before, that's why I was there, qualitative research. So I mean, yes, we do, but a lot of research is still a hunch. It's still a hunch that you're dealing with, and you have to go with the hunch. A lot of times they don't know what it is. That's what I mean. They don't know what it is to fulfill that particular need. So, but the need is there. You know, the need is definitely there. Yeah. So I mean, research definitely does build a big component. Being able to talk to your customers, understanding really what they want, not just having a top layer thing, but like also and spreading that research out to a bigger sample base. Yeah.
So what have been the 3 or 4 critical things that have, if we may summarize them, that have helped you over the years move from where you started into building a successful business that works?
I think one, understanding that time is the most expensive thing, but it's also the cheapest thing you have as an entrepreneur, because a lot of times the sacrifice is required, and you just have to do the really crappy work of just waiting and believing that this is, at the end, something fruitful will come. Yeah, so I think a lot of people don't understand. As a young person, your time is the cheapest. So if there's an asset you can play around with, it's your time. You need to be able to, you just sit around and watch a series, for heaven's sake, than sit and try and finish. Or if somebody tells you we go for a meeting and you pitch for something and you wait for a whole 3 days for it, it's like, boss, don't even complain. Yeah, like your time right now is so cheap. Like, just keep the slog going. I've been there. I've waited for 3-4 months for one signature and keeping going back to office every single day till I got that signature in 3 months. You get? Because at that time I was 22 and it didn't matter. For me, those 3 months didn't, I can't even quantify what they were. You wouldn't remember, but like a lot of times, time is something, people overvalue their own time. Okay, they overvalue. So you think, dude, I'm more important than this. So you'd rather just let it go and we'll try another day. So even for me, there's a lot of opportunities I lost on the way because time. Either being punctual or also overvaluing yourself. So, for the young guys, it's obviously you'd rather be an hour or 45 minutes. I know I'm saying that, but I'm the same guy who's also very late because I'm a creative and that's what we do. But like I've lost out on good deals because of time. Yeah. And then secondly, I think is how to be innovative and to always use the resources around you. As you can see here, we always use what's around us. We've never been one to go and get. If you go upstairs, the glasses are from my sister's wedding. The wine glasses, we chopped them, figured out how to do it, done. The wood, pale tumetoka, tumebomoa, you come, you put, figure a nice way of making it look good. Too much of us believe in this Dubai-like idea of shiny, gleaming, but in reality, that's not what brings people to Kenya. People are not coming to Kenya to see another Dubai. They're coming to Kenya to see Kenya. And that's one of the things I picked up when I was in SA, is SA guys, SA is SA. Like, they really know how to put their...
Take us as you find us.
Yes. Beside, you don't have to bend over for everyone. Like, you also need to have a backbone and be okay with what you're doing, how you're doing it, and just be ready to take. Because that's how businesses are. Like, a lot of times, the first year of any business, just a slog, it's so... you feel alone, no one's coming, you sit there, and it's like that for every single business we've been in.
So in terms of you've talked a lot about using the resources you have around you, and maybe I want that to lead into the question of your finances, because we are talking about financial management on this series. So how have you managed your finances over the span of time? How did you start off? Were there challenges you experienced? And where are you now in your business in terms of managing?
Even now it's still hard. Yeah, because initially you just work with what you can get. Luckily for us, first client was good enough. Had to take a big bet. It worked out. It took a long time to work out, but like it worked out. And then now what we've been doing is just like basically using the profits that we get, because I'm one of those people who believes, I don't believe in a good time lasting forever. Yeah, so you have to plan for the bad times. So we're always trying to figure out what the next thing is, which is good and bad, because sometimes maybe you can pull out of something a bit early to go into something that you also still a lot early. Like you need more time. So it's been an issue of balancing the two, between where you are and where you need to be, or where you want to go. So a lot of our profits have been going into maybe setting up the next thing, into something we want to be in.
So one of the things we find with a lot of entrepreneurs is that they don't invest in financial management systems and take time to understand how their money is flowing in and out. So what have you done in your businesses to make sure that that end is actually secured?
Okay, so I guess the systems we have, I guess it's very different. Like with the other businesses, it was a lot easier, like when you're doing events and stuff, because things come once in a while. It's not every single day you have, but expenses maybe are when you have a project, you have to do that. Co-working has been very different in that it's end of month. It's a bit more, you can tell when you expect something, you can tell when you're supposed to pay your expenses. With the restaurant business, it's every day. That's the most involving one, because it's every day, because you have to check stock, what was in today, what was out today. So understanding that has been really critical. Getting the right partners, as you said. Dealing with the bank a lot more. Now also in Kenya, there's like 10 ways somebody can pay you.
Yes.
There's cash, there's Pesa, there's which app, that app.
So many apps.
So there's a lot of like trying to figure all that stuff and make sure every day things are lined up. I think for most entrepreneurs, I think we also have to change how we're thinking. The whole reliance on a bank. So I think also as businesses in Kenya, young businesses, people have transitioned to thinking about financing in a different way. So maybe crowdfunding with your friends, that's one. Two, also SACCOs, because what I've realized with time, banks are too rigid. The way banks are built, they're too rigid to understand entrepreneurship, especially starting. No bank could understand what a co-working space is when I was asking them to do that. No one could understand what a Café Kaya is. No one could understand the first website I did in 2004 to finance it. They don't know those terms, man. It's not part of their vocab.
And then you need some collateral. You
need collateral.
History with the bank.
Yeah,
you need statements. And, startups don't have much.
Yeah, and what I've realized even now, a lot of the advice I'm getting is, you need to start shifting towards a SACCO, because they understand cash flows. That's all they care about. And maybe a title or two, but SACCOs. And it's a lot more easier to maybe get financing, which is not something, because traditionally we've always been brought up to think a bank will solve a lot of our issues. But banks only come to support you later on. But also, you really need to look for other solutions other than a bank. I guarantee you that. Yeah, they don't come through as good. Yeah.
So has it been helpful having one of your partners being a financial accountant or somebody who understands the numbers?
Yes, definitely. Because me, I'm a creative. I want to let you. Hata siangaliangi hizo vitu. If I try, things can go left. Yeah, so I'm like me. I understand what I'm supposed to be doing here. Carry the vision of the company forward. Work on the project, because me, I'm very hands-on. Fundis, I know how to make sure. And quality control. Me, my job is quality control. That's what I'm good at. And then him is good at math, understanding, projecting, all that stuff. And then our operations head is good at dealing with everybody during the day, make sure supplies are there, things are there. And between that, that's how we keep it going. Yeah, because you can't do everything. Yeah.
So just to close our discussion, perhaps if somebody came to you today and said you had a choice between taking a full-time job and going into entrepreneurship, would you still make the same choice of going into entrepreneurship?
I still would. I still would, because I enjoy there's a cost to, for me, I enjoy the freedom of, I might not make as much, but I enjoy the freedom of being able to choose what I want to do on a day-to-day basis, and also being able to plan my own life and know that it depends on me, as opposed to when I'm with somebody else and we're just following their plan. Yeah, so I would still do the journey. There are some aspects which are definitely, there's a lot of times you end up suffering or crying by yourself. I keep on telling guys, I think only when you grow up is when you realize how many times you can end up crying by yourself in a car.
Yes.
By yourself, because things have just hit the fan. But it's a good journey, and knowing that the risks involved, with time now, you understand that the risks involved, the challenges, they never end. Yeah, they never end, and you just have to be okay with that. You start growing a tougher skin. You started off as a newt, now you're more of a tortoise. Things hit you, you just bounce off. Yeah, it's just also not taking things seriously, understanding how to deal with anxiety, because no matter how anxious you are, it doesn't change what's happening tomorrow. Yeah.
So with all that, what brings you back every day to entrepreneurship? What are the things that you wake up every morning and you're like, I'll go back for this?
One, making a difference, creating value, being able to see how much change, because I think I was brought up to be very involving with other people's lives, and so like even being able to see, because most of our employees, they've, like one of the things it's core with our business is nearly no one came here with the set of skills that they currently have. They came in, I mean, even our finance manager didn't come in with the set of skills that he currently has. And that's one thing, because even for me, I've always, always believe in learning every single day. And I don't believe you should be in a comfort zone for so long. So being able to see somebody who came, or they were fired somewhere, they want to be a waiter, they come through, we teach them. Next thing you know, they're in the back of the kitchen, also doing something else. Even if they leave, they've left here a much better person. Yeah, so I think those are the things that keep me going. Same thing even with our fundis, whatever we're building. You know, a lot of them came from a very unskilled background, and now because of taking time, like I said, time is it's the cheapest, but it's one of the most important things. Taking time to build people eventually does work out for you. Yes, there's a few losses. We were talking with my friend the other day, another guy who's just got a business next to me. He was complaining about firing his chef because this guy was like, they were not seeing eye to eye. Well, I was telling him, this is part of business. You can't go into, a lot of us go into business and we don't understand the challenges that we're actually going into. That's part one, like being able to fire somebody, hiring it. As long as you can hire, you're supposed to fire. Yeah, and you have to be okay with that. Even sometimes the same person will come and you are the one getting fired because they leave you. You get? So, and also understanding that people, all relationships will end whenever the positive that you're giving somebody like maxes out. So meaning if your employee's dream was to go somewhere, it doesn't matter what you've done in between, if their day comes, they get a better opportunity, guess what? And they're not your ownership. They're not your property, it's not your ownership. Your only thing you own is your dream. And you have to keep on going with that. Different people will come and join, but eventually it's just you and your dream. Mutembe pamoja.
That is a really good lesson for a lot of SMEs, because sometimes we start businesses thinking that we are the only investors in it and it's our money and our sweat, our blood and tears. And yet when we hire employees, we do not give them the kind of say that we should. Because we hire experts, we hire a finance person, but we don't spend time listening to what they have, yet we have brought them in as experts. So a critical lesson you have picked up there for business. Yours forced on you because of your circumstances.
It wasn't even like, I'd say it's not forced, it was enforced.
Enforced, yes.
Yeah, because it was always there before, but like it just became ultra clear during that period as to why, okay, thank God you had started this earlier. You get, because otherwise you'd have just closed doors. Yeah.
So there you have it, entrepreneurs, some gems of wisdom from Roy Wachira, the owner and founder of Café Kaya and the Foundry in Nairobi. So join us next time for another interview in the series. For more about the MGK Foundation, please visit us at www.mgkfoundation.or.ke. See you next time.